Hey guys, what's up? It's Finch here. I'm on Twitter, scrolling through my feed, and I see that Wild, Short, and Hectic, the November stats for Scarlet and Violet OU are finally out. Let's go. Let's talk about what was used in OU, what maybe didn't see enough usage in OU, and so on and so forth. So the Kings of the tier, unfortunately, have been banned. Fluttermane at 39% and Palafin at 36%. These obviously are a little skewed, only in the tier for a short period of time. So let's just move on beyond these two and talk about the next couple. We got Great Tusk at number 3, almost 31%, sitting at 30.5% here. Chen Pao at 27% and Goldango at 25%. Let's talk about these three Pokemon. Great Tusk, one of the best Pokemon that we have seen in OU. It's really going to be a metagame staple in my opinion. It offers a lot in terms of offensive coverage and defensive utility. I feel it's got a nice enough speed tier to really be a consistent, solid force, both offensively while remaining in a nice defensive profile. I feel like it really was great to see Donphan kind of take this form between Great Tusk and also things like Iron Treads as well, which I believe number 15, yeah. Not shocked there. Chen Pao, really great with Swords of Ruin, makes the defense lower by 25% and just a great tool stab. Kind of all the things we've wanted to be, and we've always already great enough Pokemon as is, so just seeing it kind of take form. Sacred Sword coverage, obviously great as well. Also good with Terra. A lot of Terraslization from Pokemon like Espathra, for example, have been to really dodge Sucker Punch. So it's not shocking there. And then Goldango, probably the best single Pokemon in the metagame right now in my eyes. It's able to block hazards thanks to its ability, good as gold, but also Make It Rain is just a nuke on the special side, only drops the special attack by 1 as well. Shadow Ball is very spammable. You could run the Nasty Plot Balloon set, you could run Trick Scarf, there are different Hex variants you can see as well. If you've seen Specs a couple times, it's just a really strong Pokemon, fitting in the metagame nicely, alongside other ghost types such as Dragapult, which we see down at number 19. And really, ever since Fluttermane's been banned, it's been an example of a really restrictively broken Pokemon, suddenly opening the door for things like Goldango, opening the door for Dragapult, Gengar, etc. At number 6, we got Corviknight coming in at 22%. Rounding out the top 10, we got Glamora at 20%, Roaring Moon at 19%, Clodsire at 17%, which I'm a little surprised by, and then Chi-Yu at 16%. So Corviknight right off the bat, no shock there. It's the premier defog user in the metagame, and also the one of 2 steel types we see in the top 10, and the only defensive steel type we see. Just knowing how great defensive steel types have been over generations, you know. And we lose Ferrothorn, we lose Heatran, we lose Excadrill, you know. We lose all of these Pokemon Skarmory. Right now, that it's no shock to see Corviknight reigning supreme. It's a great role compressor, provides a premium defensively, and we should not shy away from that. Glamora has been the premier early game hazard Pokemon with so much anti-removal things going around, such as Goldango. On hyper offense, Glamora has been an excellent option on those offensive teams, in my opinion. So no shock there. Oh, sorry, scrolled a little too far down. Roaring Moon with Terra Flying Acrobatics has been phenomenal as a win condition. Also, we've seen utility sets for Chi-Yu and Banded sets to just really pack a punch. On top of the Terra Flying set with Acrobatics, which again helps it resist fighting and take neutral takes from Fairy, while also getting an Acrobatics Flying boosted attack to hit those Pokemon, you know, hit the Grimmsnarls of the world, and so on and so forth. It also is just an exemplary breaker. Dark typing with Dragon is just awesome. 2 really strong offensive stabs as well. And we've had a little bit of a deficiency of fairy types as well, so that's why it's helpful. Clodsire, it's a nice, unaware rocker. Personally, I'm a little surprised to see it at 9 and Dondozo at 32. I actually think Dondozo is the better of the 2, slightly, but still. But both are great right now, so no shock there that it's, you know, high up. But I don't expect it to be number 10. I don't think it's a top 10 Pokemon. I think more top 20 would sit it. So we'll see how that goes. You know, Cloud started to get a lot of hype day 1 because it did wall a couple of things that were really good. So no shocking. Anyway, on top of that, Chi-Yu at number 10, no shock there. You know, the fish is a fire, absolute flames, inferno. It does hell damage. It's got a great dual stab. Obviously a little fragile, but you can circumvent some of that with boots and keeping it faster than the foe, so it's a little long way there. Speaking of dark types that are reigning supreme, we have the Supreme Overlord in the King Gambit. That was not a planned segue at all. I'll take all praise in the comment section down below and with the like button. King Gambit is not a disappointment. It's been a really awesome presence so far. Sucker Punch is super strong. You creep that Corviknight with the speed a little bit, and it does an awful lot of damage. You know, Iron Head hits a lot of a lot of things that dark types don't. It's just a great complement. Obviously, things like Tusk can do pretty decently into it in the short term, although you can Terra flying into it, and then God knows what'll happen from there. It's just a really strong Pokemon. Also, having a Ghost resistance goes a long way in this metagame. Speaking of doing well against Ghost, Cyclizar is able to take Shadow Ball since it's a normal typing. It has Shed Tail to really set things up. It really does well with Espithra and Dragonite. I'm trying to name a couple of Pokemon it commonly partners with. However, the issue with Cyclizar is that it doesn't really do much offensively. Pretty lackluster offensive profile. Right now, seeing it come out at number 12 isn't too shocking. I kind of expect it to be top 10. Shed Tail just is that good. Also gives access to Rapid Spin and Knockoff, but we'll see where it ultimately goes. Next up, we have Scizor. Iron Bundle would have been 13, but again, it's long gone now. Scizor is a nice roll compression steel type. I do think it'd be lower in a metagame without Flutter Mane, in a metagame where Chi-Yu is better, and so on and so forth. You know, Bullet Punch isn't as awesome now without the Flutter Mane factor. And on top of that, people are adapting to Scizor and using other steel types more, such as Goldango on every single team, and Corviknight on a lot of teams, and even Gambit. So I'm not surprised to see it here. I think that Iron Treads is another steel type, which is at number 15. I'll actually end up ahead of it in the long haul. Iron Treads is, like Great Tusk, kind of a Donphan variant, if you will. Very strong in the ground. Steel typing is obviously a really great typing. It also provides a nice offensive surplus as well as having some utility. Iron Valiant was perhaps touted as one of the most broken Pokemon, and some people still see it as such in their circles. However, I'm not all the way there. Personally, I think it's just the epitome of a very good Pokemon that isn't necessarily crossing that threshold into brokenness, and I'm interested to see where it'll go in the metagame. It has great coverage with the Fairy Fighting and also decent off-stab coverage as well. It could tear out in a couple different ways and also run both physical and special sets, so very interesting to see where it'll go. Breloom Mach Punch was obviously great from the get-go, really awesome for things like Iron Bundle, and also Mach Punch to really take out things like King Gambit, while also revenge killing Chi-Yu and posing a massive threat altogether with the Choice Band variants of it. Chen Pao also was able to dispatch of it with Sucker Punch due to the fact that fighting resisted while dying to Mach Punch. We have seen some Terra funk well around that dynamic too, and it also can prevent Cyclizar from pulling any shenanigans with Mach Punch as well. Overall fighting is, no doubt about it, a premier offensive typing once again, but Breloom is a pretty limited Pokemon, and I wouldn't be shocked to see it drop more into the 20s or the 30s moving forward. Houndstone would have been at number 18, but may he rest in peace temporarily until a couple months from now. I'm really excited to see it back in the metagame. I wish we could still have it now, but I digress. Another video for another time. We got Dragapult coming in at number 19. It should be much higher. It should be top 10, no doubt about it. Criminally underrated Pokemon. Band is great. Specs is great. You know, Hex sets, etc. Really great. Low Kicks at number 20. I don't know. It's got a cool ability, offensive profile, but it also is pretty limited. It's definitely a lackluster on the defensive end of time between the lack of Nastro bulk plus the mediocre typing on the defensive end. So it'll be interesting to see if it'll retain any viability or eventually fade into the light of more of a UU role. Excalibur, however, alongside Garchomp, are two dragons that are here to stay in their own right. Excalibur is a dynamic dragon dancer and is able to really pose a threat. I really love the Ice Dragon coverage. Heavy Duty Boots highlights its defensive profile well. It can also Terra, Fairy to potentially get some resistances while also staying as it is to be resistant, well rather immune to Ghost typing, which goes a long way as well. It also has nice natural bulk and decent enough speed to where it can really pull off a lot of things here. Personally, I think Excalibur is the real deal. I wouldn't be surprised to see it staying OU for a long time. Speaking of OU mainstays, we have Garchomp, which has been OU at points in Generation 4 before banned, and then staying OU in 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now it's back for more Generation 9, no shock there either, as it also gained access to Spikes. Spikes on Garchomp is just a really awesome move in my opinion. It's really great to see it coming out as another great threat. I haven't seen as much Swords Dance or offensive variants, more so utility, Stealth Rock Spikes, Earthquake, Dragon Tail type sets with Leftovers or Sash. And truth be told, I wouldn't be shocked if that's the case for a while. The metagame is a little too fast for Swords Dance Garchomp to go to town, but once it does, especially if Terra's still in the metagame, I wouldn't be shocked to see more Terra Fire on it. That's interesting. Meowscarlet at 23 is largely due to the fact it was a starter Pokemon. It should be much lower. In fact, it should be lower than both of the other starters, in my opinion, ironically enough. I think that Scalbridge is better than it. I also think that Quaquaval is better than it now that Palafin's banned, although that obviously skewed the Quaquaval usage, so I digress. Don't get me wrong, Choice Band Meowscarlet with its ability and Flower Trip and so on and so forth is a dynamic offensive presence. However, it's very fragile, and once you know what it does, which most people do by this point, it definitely does leave a little bit to be desired. Grimmsnarl on the flip side is peaking right now. While it was an NU dweller last generation, really getting down in the lower depths of the lower tiers. It is awesome this generation with screens and parting shot. It provides a premium coverage option to offensive teams and really can help set them up, give them free turns, and bolster their defensive profiles, which can be further bolstered by terrestrialization as well. So it's just a really great fixture in those archetypes. Toxapex number 25, unfortunate. Amonkhet number 26, also unfortunate. Dragonator 27, another criminally underrated Pokemon, a top 10, no doubt about it, Pokemon. One of the best users of terrestrialization with either Steel, Fire, or Normal. Normal kind of makes it an Arceus Extreme Killer type of vibe with Dragon Dance instead of Swords Dance, whereas Steel and Fire can flip its defensive typing. Fire if you use Fire Punch, Steel if you use Earthquake, just because it's a little better defensively overall. Overall, both are really solid. You obviously have to play some mind games with it, but overall, Dragonite is such a great Pokemon, very resourceful in the metagame. Next up, we got Ditto. Cool. Garganacl is at number 29. This thing never dies. If you've ever seen it die, then you're watching the wrong game. Clear out your eyes and watch it again. Thank you. Torkoal is there for Sun teams. Obviously, with all the photosynthesis, it's great, but also there are different abusers. Things we've seen here, things that we'll see like Iron Moth and Volcarona as well. And it's just a very dynamic playstyle in this metagame. Ting-Lu, you know, something I didn't see being OU at first, but really it's been underrated. It actually provides a premium utility and Pokemon. I quite like it, and I'm curious to see where it'll come in the near future. So we'll have to keep our eyes open on that as well. Dondozo, you know, again, another Pokemon I think should be top 10, top 15 that unfortunately is getting a really mitigated rap. I'm curious to see what will come of it. Of course, you know, Rest is being relied upon for recovery, which is a little unfortunate, but in the same right, I do feel as if Dondozo is great unaware, you know, stop things like Roaring Moon and Dragonite in a pinch. Wave Crash is still pretty strong, and Body Press with Curse Boost are great as well. Pretty much a staple on stall teams, but Blissey losing Heal Bell, which we don't even see Blissey in this, which is crazy because Blissey was all over the place in the higher ladder. Does diminish its viability quite a bit. Heal Bell really isn't in the game. The Fire Ghostmon is pretty bad. I don't know. I've never really liked it. Just being honest with you, I don't even remember its full name. Sorry. Tranitar, what can I say? You know, he's back. He's fine. Nothing crazy. I think it's just a second or third best wetter. Personally, I think Pelipper should be OU by use as well. The Iron Moth is solid, really great offensively. You know, Terra Fairy is pretty awesome on it as well. Nice lore. It's got a cool typing. I think it's actually provided some premium defensively as well as offensively. Really good into Iron Valiant, which is cool. So love that. Skelridge, another Terra Fairy fire type, actually, ironically enough. Unaware, Wisp, Torch Song, Hex with recovery is pretty decent in my opinion. Boots obviously help it a long way. It's pretty good. At flipping the narrative, you know, because Ghost Fire into Fairy type, you know, kind of can cover a lot of things. You get to say King Gambit, and it's gonna click a Dark move into you. You go Terra Fairy, you could burn it, or Torch Song it. It goes a long way. Earthworm, it's another Shed Tailor, much like Cyclizar, but it's got Earth Heater, so you can't like Earthquake it. You know, it gets that immunization, healing, so that makes it a special type of Steel type, in my opinion. It definitely has a nice defensive presence and utility presence, but it's not great. Mouse isn't actually viable. Volcarona, when bundle Palafin metagame with Terra Grass was really dynamic. Now I've seen, you know, other Terras in it as well, like Terra Psychic. I think it's really solid, but you know, it does leave something to be desired in a metagame with multi-scale Dragonite, in a metagame with Clodsire and Chi-Yu. Even with Flying Roaring Moon, you know, you gotta be careful of that, of course. Quackleval is pretty decent ever since Palafin got banned. You know, it's definitely seen usage. Obviously, it's not quite as good, not quite as dynamic, and it's walled by a handful of Pokemon, but it does provide a nice premium offensive presence for a physical water type in this metagame. Speaking of physical Pokemon, Annihilate with Rage Fist gets real physical real quickly after just taking 1 or 2 or 3 hits. It has that Ghost Stab as well, and actually terrorizes into water as well itself to help bolster its defensive profile and like it take more hits, which really boosts up its power. And finally, Iron Hands rounds out the OU usage. It's okay, nothing special. Just want to get a quick rundown. You know, this is nothing crazy. I did upload a video last night, which I'm hoping to draw more focus to than this one, truth be told, on, you know, my thoughts on tiering, so be sure to check that out. But if you want to use the stats, there they are. If you want to see me play Yu, let me know. I'll try and maybe get a couple games in and see what I can do. But there's also going to be a video on Saturday coming out about a tier maker of all the Pokemon below you, so check that out. And in the meantime, hope you guys enjoy. Let me know your thoughts. What was used too much? What was used too little? Yeah, thank you so much. All right, bye guys. See ya.